So, you want to examine your association, okay? So sorry, cat people, cat lovers, I love you, you're great, cats are great, whatever, blah, 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 okay? Dogs forever.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Welcome to Listen, Lissa. Welcome back. Sorry. Welcome back. Hi, how are you? I am so happy to see you. Last week we finished up our series on the subconscious mind. I know that was a very exciting theme to do for me, and I hope that it helped a lot of people. Now we're going to move on to attachment theory. I've been very excited, looking forward to sharing this theory with you. I'm sure you've probably heard of it by now. Attachment theory is sweeping through the circles of psychology, especially in the relationship realm. It has helped me immensely to understand myself better and understand the way that I need to show up in relationships if I want them to last and be fulfilling and healthy. I would love to help you do the same. Let's get into it. Attached or attachment is what? This mic is attached to this mic stand. Okay, that's how it applies to objects. How does it apply in psychology? Attachment is an affection, a sympathy for closeness. Okay, and I'm going to get into learning a new concept, or I want to really take in information coming from a blank slate. I take a word that I'm going to be studying. I just think of the first three things I associate with it within 5 seconds. If I like to do that to help me to see if I have any predetermined beliefs or associations with that word or that concept. For example, if I said cat, that's 5 seconds. Meow, litter, mean, evil. Meow, litter, those are things associated with cats, pretty obvious. If I said the word mean, it's probably pretty obvious that I think cats are not very nice. That might be a bias I have against cats, and then I might tend to not like a cat or see all the bad things that a cat does or not get along with a cat. And this is not a personal story that happened with my brother when he moved in here with a cat.
That's suspicious.
Not a personal story.
That's weird.
So, you want to examine your associations, okay? So sorry, cat people, cat lovers, I love you, you're great, cats are great, whatever, blah, 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 okay? Dogs forever. What comes up when you think about the word attachment? I say think of the first few words that you can think of. 5 seconds, get ready, attached. The words that I came up with when I did this were clingy. There's a big one to look at. Dependent and safe. Let's examine. Clingy. I would say that most of us associate clingy with a negative connotation association. This could reveal to me that I believe the word attachment, I associate being attached to someone with being clingy in some way. And that could go two ways. I could associate it with feeling like people are going to be too clingy to me. I could associate it with the fact that I could feel like I'm going to be too clingy or someone's going to perceive me as being clingy if I'm attached to them. So that's something to look into. The second word I wrote is dependent. Dependence is actually not a bad thing in relationships. You want to reach a level of interdependence. I'm not going to get too far into that, but there's hyper independence, there's codependent, and then right in the middle is interdependence, right where we should all be when we're in relationships. Right in the middle. You take the responsibility for yourself that you need to independently, and you also lean on your partner when you need support. So that's healthy. The word dependent, I know that if I wrote it down, I am associating it as codependent. The fact that I wrote dependent as my second word, and I know that I'm associating that the same as codependent, I would probably say that my first word, clingy, was referring to the same thing, as that I would be worried that I would be perceived as clingy. I don't want to get attached to anyone because I don't want to be clingy. I don't want to be dependent. It's pertaining to myself and my fear of being treated that way.
Once you have determined your quick words, you can use the definitions of the terms analytically to find objectivity. So, for example, if we were using the word attachment, we can look up the definition of attachment and figure out what it actually means objectively. And then you can use your quick words to tell you a story of what your biases or your beliefs may be that are embedded about that topic.
And the last thing I wrote is safe. So that's a little spin on where I went with my first two words. I think I wrote that because my thought of a secure attachment. If you can depend on the person that you're attached to and they're also attached to you, I believe that would be a safe place to be. You would find safety in being attached to the right person. That clues me in on some beliefs I might have going into a relationship and an attachment that I might want to explore in my subconscious that could immediately hinder me from properly learning about this information.
So the utilization of quick words would lead me to the conclusion that while I desire attachment and associate it with safety when it's in its healthy form, I ultimately fear being mistreated once I do become vulnerable with an attachment. Taking it a bit further by using the self-limiting belief method where we work backwards and ask, if this, then what does that mean about me? I would find that the core wounds or beliefs in operation here are likely I am not enough, I am too much, I am stupid or I am tricked, I am rejected, I am abandoned, and I am unloved.
So it's always good to take inventory of that. It's the same setup as if you haven't seen my series on the subconscious mind, it's the same process as self-limiting beliefs that you would use to question any other beliefs that you have in your subconscious. So you would say, can I be sure this is true? And then you would reflect if the opposite is true or not. If I believe that being attached to someone is clingy, I'm going to be clingy and I'm going to be too attached to them and I'm not going to be supported and I'm going to get abandoned. Can I be sure that this is true? Well, no, because I haven't been attached to every person in the whole world and I don't know everything. I would have this belief about relationships based on probably, since I have relationships with men, I would probably have these misconceptions or beliefs about men in relationships and how they treat me. So I would need to examine evidence of when that wasn't occurring. Let me share with you the actual textbook definition in psychology of what attachment theory is. Attachment theory was developed from several different theorists. Bowlby, Ainsworth, Main, and Solomon were the main contributors of that research and developing this theory. The theory that humans are born with a need to form a close emotional bond with a caregiver, and that such a bond will develop during the first 6 months of a child's life. There are 4 principles of attachment theory for your childhood that will mirror the way you will perceive and go about gaining attachment or go about handling attachment in your adult relationships. So those are a safe haven, secure base, proximity maintenance, and separation distress. So let's start with the first one, safe haven. This means that a child feels like they have a safety net, or if something frightening happens or threatening comes along, they can depend on their caregiver, that their caregiver will want to help eliminate that threat, will come to their aid, will be helpful and protective, and will comfort them in their terror or fear. In adult relationships, we should feel the same way. We should feel like if there's a threat against us, that our partner would be on our side. And we should feel in our adult relationships like if we are afraid of something, that we are going to receive comfort from our partner for that fear. The second, a secure base. This one is when your caregiver is a resource that is reliable for information. It's like you're out in the world, you're kind of like learning different new things. My dog is sick today, but normally he plays fetch with me. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to turn to my caregiver, because I know that my caregiver is going to tell me why my dog is behaving differently. And I depend on them and I can rely on them that they're going to give me information that is going to be the correct information, or at the very least, it's going to be information that has my best interest at heart and is at least trying to look out for the best for me and trying to give me proper information. So it's trustworthy and reliable. You should feel the same way in our adult relationships, whereas we feel like if we are needing advice or a different perspective on one of our problems or something that we're just not understanding, we should be able to turn to our partner and rely on the fact that the information or advice that they would be giving us, perspective that they would be giving us, even if it's not right, and even if it doesn't agree with our perspective, that it would be still good intention and being given with thoughtfulness and being given with taking our feelings into consideration. So that's a healthy attachment. Same thing with friends. You should have friends that are giving you reliable sources of information as far as from an emotional standpoint, where you know that they're giving it to you from a good place in their heart. Proximity maintenance means as you come across novel experiences in your childhood, so new things that you want to explore, you feel confident to explore them. So you feel like your caregiver is within a close proximity so that you can branch out and kind of like be curious about things and try new things, because you know that your caregiver will be close by if you need guidance. So they're only a few steps away. They're only one call away. They're only a few feet away. You should feel this way as well in your adult relationships, right? So you should feel like you can take that new career path. You'll have more confidence to try out new things in your career, new things in your life, maybe make new friends, maybe go to that new coffee shop, maybe try that new activity, because you have a partner that you have a close proximity to, and you know that if you ever were steered wrong, you have someone in close proximity that you can rely on to be there, that's going to help you if you need to be put back on the right path, and that's going to see you and give you the benefit of the doubt and take your side and be close by. They're close by if you need them. They're only one call away. Like Chingy said. Chingy understood the proximity maintenance. Separation distress is the final principle of attachment theory. And this one is a little bit surprising to some people. So I would say most people that tend to be more standoffish, they might think that separation in a healthy attachment style would mean that you can be separated and it's fine because you're totally independent and you should be relying on yourself. And then I think that if you're from a more anxious side or coming from someone who needs a little bit more closeness, that you might think that this is talking about separation anxiety and talking about how you're gonna be experiencing that anxiety if you are away from your caregiver. So somewhere in the middle, actually. So separation distress says that infants and children actually are completely healthily attached if they show a sorrowful reaction or a distress when they are separated from their caregiver. This is obviously going to be more pronounced in infants because they don't want to be separated at all. They don't want to be ever away from their caregiver because they are still 100% dependent on them, okay? And it just progressively gets a little bit more independent as they separate more and more, as they gain more skills to be able to take care of themselves in different ways. But there will always be a bit of distress, like missing your caregiver. So, I mean, most of us, even if we may have had really not so great parents, we have kind of like a love-hate relationship with that, whereas you miss them, but you don't get along with them. If you've lost a parent, you always miss them. This should mirror into your adult relationship. And whereas, you shouldn't want to be away from your significant other constantly, and you shouldn't want to be spending every single breathing second with them either. Both versions of that are unhealthy on different sides of the spectrum. But there should always be, on a basic level, you should miss your partner when you're away from them, and you should be happy when they are back around in your presence. Is it natural to need some space from someone that you're around constantly and that you live with that, probably gets on your nerves sometimes? Yes, totally fine. But not too long of a time should go by and you should be missing that person again. That's a healthy attachment. Why is attachment important, and why does it matter if we're attached or not, and how attached should we be, and why are different psychologists making it such a big deal in today's modern times for us to be healthily attached to someone? And here's why, okay? Because it is very much accepted as fact at this point in our understanding of human needs that we are emotional, loving, interconnected beings that need a certain level of physical intimacy, physical touch, and emotional intimacy as well. It's a need. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything you're struggling with, need a little bit of additional support with. Please let me know in the comments. You can drop a white heart. You can drop the symbol for the heart with the keyboard, with the 3 in the thing. Or if you want to just explain what you need support for, I welcome that as well. And I'll give you some boost of encouraging words. This is always a safe place. You mean everything to me. Everyone that views me, you mean everything to me. I love it. I love it. I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications, like, comment, view. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Bye. I would love to help you do the same. Then maybe we can be in a little bit of an, but I'm going to